Hi all, hope you're well. This is Maro, welcome to my channel. The game in the background is me in a Farragut, which is very lucky coincidence given that this video happens to be about her. So recently I succumbed and reset my first full ship line. I chose the US Destroyer line. This is one of the classes I played first when I started the game just over 2 years ago, so I thought it'd be fun to replay it again. And for the most part, I was not wrong. I free XP'd my way to tier 6 USS Farragut. Initially, I played 65 games in her with a 38% win rate, so not a great win rate. This time around, I played 10 games, 8 wins and 2 losses before reaching the tier 7 destroyer, USS Mayhem. Premium camos, flags, the limited time 200% bonus, and a little luck helped a lot. Playing Farragut again made me think about what I knew when I played the ship the first time around, and I wanted to share some of my thoughts on her and the difference the time has made in how I played her this time around. So first, a little background on USS Farragut. She is one of the many historical ships in the game. The actual ship was commissioned in 1934. She's a lead ship in her class. In total, 8 ships were built and all served in World War II. 3 of the ships were lost to accidents and the 1944 typhoon. The rest were decommissioned and scrapped after the war. In-game, USS Farragut is a Tier 6 destroyer. Currently, as of May 2020, there are 15 Tier 6 destroyers in the game. First, let me go over Farragut's in-game stats, then I will compare it to her peers, and in the end I will draw on the ship's strengths and weaknesses to make some general recommendations on how best to make most of the ship in the game. First, there is survivability. USS Farragut at 11,500 has the lowest hit point pool of all the Tier 6 destroyers. No heal or anything else to make it bigger. That's all you get. How bad is that? Gepard, French Tier 6 destroyer, tops the list at 17,200 hit points. Everyone else is in between. Hatsuharu is at 11,700. 5 more destroyers are at 12,000 plus. Monaghan is at 13,900. Then there are 4 more destroyers at 14,000 plus. Then Gade at 16,500, with the French Eagle and destroyer joining Gepard at 17,000 plus. So if Farragut's survivability is poor, then concealment must be great. Nope. Farragut's concealment out of the box is 7.3 kilometers. It's the 4th worst behind Gepard and Nagel at 7.7 kilometers and Gade at 7.6. These 3 destroyers have the largest hit point pool at this tier. The other 11 destroyers have better concealment, with Hatsuharu leading the pack at 6.5 kilometers, 800 meters better than Farragut. How big of a deal is that? Well, in the game it takes Farragut 8+ seconds to travel 800 meters. This is the time that the ships on the other team can shoot at you before you're even able to see Hatsuharu, assuming you are headed in her direction. Now, you can turn away the moment you are spotted. Farragut is nimble. Her turning radius is second best at 560 meters, after Icarus and Gallant at 540 meters. The German Gade is the worst at 690 meters. That means that good turning radius with very nimble 2.7 second rudder shift, Farragut can make a 180-degree turn in about 20 seconds. The only downside is that in 20 seconds, even Hatsuharu can do 7,500 hit points in high explosive damage in ideal conditions. Ideal conditions being the ship is not moving and every shell lands and causes 1/3 of its max HE damage. In game, the actual damage would be less, perhaps half, Nevertheless, even at the lower amount, that is a quarter of Farragut's hit points. Now, if you run into more of a gunboat, let's say another Farragut, a ship with top HE DPM in tier 6, then you're looking at almost 15,000 hit points in ideal conditions. Add some variability and you may easily lose 7,500 hit points, assuming the red team's destroyers are unsupported. If they have support, then you are in even more trouble. Perhaps an early trip back to the port is in the offing. Now, you do have smoke. It is your get out of the jail card, or in this case more like stay out of the port card. So while you can use it defensively, it's even better when you use it offensively. It is the best smoke in the tier with 30-second action time and 118-second dispersion time. So it is a very good thing to have when you are starting fires on a nose-in battleships that are already being spotted by your team. So far in the con column we have low health pool and bad concealment. We can add short-range torps and AA to this category as well. The torps go out to 6.4 kilometers. Your concealment with a camo and a captain with concealment expert skill gets you to 6.6 kilometers. So no stealth torping in a Farragut. Moreover, they are at the lower end in terms of damage at 11,733 and you get 8 of them every 88 seconds. The best way to use them is against targets that are headed your way and will close the distance, allowing you to fire well before they can spot you. It takes Farragut's torps 37 seconds to cover 6.4 kilometers at 64 knots, which is at the top end of the tier. Battleship traveling at 30 knots, a rarity in this tier, will cover 3 kilometers during that time. A slower 20-knot battleship will cover 2 kilometers, allowing you to target ships at 8.5 to 9.5 kilometers. Now, this is extreme range, and 37 seconds is a long time even for battleship not to change course or direction. Firing the torps at 7 kilometers will significantly reduce the time to impact to 28 to 30 seconds respectively. Still long, but more hopeful that the torps will hit the target. In terms of torpedo tubes angles, Farragut covers 89 degrees, starting at 45 degrees in the front and ending at 134 degrees in the back. In terms of angle range, this is the top for the tier, with only the Russian and Pan-Asian destroyers matching it. The rest are behind it, with Japanese destroyers, excluding Hatsuharu, having the worst values at 50 degrees. Solid torpedo speed with spotting range of only 1.3 kilometers means the enemy ship will have only 7.5 seconds to react before impact. Now on to anti-aircraft defense. In-game rating is 27, the third highest for a tier 6 destroyer, behind Hatsuharu at 33. However, that does you no good. Your AA is best kept off unless you are already spotted or in smoke. With the 9.5 patch, Farragut can equip the FAA consumable. The issue is that Farragut's long-range AA is negligible, mid-range non-existent, and low-range not meaningful to dissuade the carrier of even thinking about attacking you. For example, you can start shooting at Ranger's F4F Wildcat fighters at 5.8 kilometers. The planes fly at 153 knots and it will take them 14 seconds to reach the ship. Farragut's AA will do 679 points of continuous damage during that time. Each F4F Wildcat has 1340 hit points, so you will do just about half a plane worth of damage. With sector prioritization and DFAA ideally aligned and fired, you can theoretically increase it to come to one plane shot on approach, with perhaps another half a plane on the way out. However, during that time, not only are you spotted, you're also making it easy for the CV to continue to target you. As a result, sparing use of AA is recommended. That being said, would I choose the FAA over speed boost? I would. More speed is probably a better choice because it's always there, unlike CVs. However, emotional need to at least fight back against the air menace feels more satisfying. The choice is yours. So far, I have spent a lot of time going over challenges playing Farragut, but there are also areas where the ship excels. Her rate of fire is great. 527mm guns firing every 4 seconds. There is something very satisfying in seeing the shells fly at a rapid pace. Your maximum 20-second HE shell potential damage is best in class at 14,700. You will not be able to cause that much damage to your fellow destroyers, but you are punishing enough that no destroyer will be keen to engage with you one-on-one when you are full on health. Now, the important thing to remember in general is not to chase other DDs. Usually it is easier to hit a ship that's moving towards you. However, in case of Farragut, your forward firing angle is bad. You need a 54-degree angle to be able to bring all of your guns on target, which makes you a bigger target and allows other destroyers to fire armor-piercing shells at you. For example, German DPS almost doubles when using AP. Kiting, on the other hand, is much more attractive. Your firing angle when kiting, sailing away, is 31 degrees. Very close to 30-degree ricochet boundary for AP, and minimizes your profile for the red team to target. Your fire chance is solid at 125% over 20 seconds. The small individual chance of fire is ameliorated by high rate of fire. For example, Eagle over 20 seconds tops the charts at 180%, while Fubuki floors it at 90%. Most other destroyers are at 120% range. Once you account for ship's fire prevention measures, such as damage control system modification or fire prevention systems, you're looking at 80% to 90% adjusted chance of fire, assuming perfect accuracy. More likely real world result is 40 to 60% over 20 seconds, which means you may end up shooting up to 40 seconds to start a fire. You can do it opportunistically on isolated targets that are already engaged with your teammates, or to your leisure from the smoke. Do be mindful of torps, so try to position yourself to minimize your exposure to them by pointing your bow or stern in most likely direction. Also, try to make sure your smoke is large enough to go back and forth. Lastly, if no one is spotting for you, your smoke is wasted, so don't use it offensively unless you are sure you have spotting. Farragut shells have high trajectory arcs, so they are ideal for shooting when behind the islands. In that sense, you can think of her as a light cruiser. The high firing arcs combined with relatively slow shell speed make it challenging to hit smaller maneuvering targets at longer ranges, and in most cases should be reserved for battleship. So while the gun range is 12.6 kilometers, just behind French destroyers, Gepard and Eagle at 13 and 12.8 respectively, it should be used sparingly unless behind an island or in smoke, as every time you shoot, your concealment blooms to that distance, making you vulnerable. In terms of engaging other DDs, you want to avoid one-on-ones, not because Farragut is not good, but because you want to make every fight one-sided as possible. With that in mind, if you spot a sole destroyer, do look for an opportunity to engage, make a pass and push the enemy DD away. If you spot a French or German DD, be careful. French DD has a reload booster, which makes it dangerous over a short period of time. German DD has a very good AP, so you want to make sure you are angled, as in that case you have an advantage. When it comes to capping, don't rush into it. And the best way to do it is to back into the cap so that you can make a quick getaway. Now, this is in general true, but even more so when it comes to Farragut. Spot for your team, but be prepared to sail away if spotted. So I think this captures most of what I wanted to highlight for Farragut. It is a solid destroyer, but it is helpful to think of it as a light cruiser. Don't rush into caps, be wary of other DDs. If you spot isolated ones, do take advantage of the opportunity to take a pass at them. Remember to kite most of the time and use your smoke when you need to get out of dodge. You have a limited health pool, so you want to protect it as much as you can in the beginning. In mid to late game, you can be a little more aggressive, but your goal should be to stay close to friendly ships, spot targets, torps, and keep your AA off unless spotted or helping a friendly when it's safe for you. The longer you live, the more helpful you will be to your team. In late game, when you can take full advantage of your DPM. So that's it for me. I hope this is helpful. Keep in mind that there are many ways to play the game and have fun. Find what works for you and do it. Stay safe and take care. Maro, out.